A warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining us on the program. This is Aviation This Week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Ketumbi. On this edition, we're staying with the impact of the economic recession on the aviation sector. While it's sharing news that Arike and First Nation are back to operations, the industry's problems must still be tackled head-on, as the impact of Forex on airline operations is still a big issue. Though the Minister of Aviation appears to be taking the sector more seriously as he returns to Lagos to give an update on the state of aero contractors, let's get started with an overview.
First Nation on the runway as it revives its operations. Arik Air back on the beat on a rainy day. These two events somewhat marked a glint of hope for the ailing industry. While Arik and First Nation have put their acts together, the Minister of Aviation has been meeting with principal players in the industry to ensure that aero contractors get off the ground. This time, an interministerial committee is in the works. Captain Hadi Sirika insists that aero contractors has built a large following, and so no wise government will allow the airline go extinct. The interministerial committee will include the Ministry of Labour and Productivity, industry stakeholders, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and staff of the airline. While this is cheery news, the industry is far from being out of the woods, as local operators still struggle to stay afloat in the face of some excruciating factors, which include paucity of funds caused largely by the scarcity and high cost of foreign exchange, the apathy by creditor institutions to grant loans to finance new fleet acquisition and routine maintenance abroad, the high premium charged by local underwriting firms, multiple taxation by regulatory agencies and service providers, and the exorbitant cost of aviation fuel, which accounts for more than 40% cost of airlines' operation in Nigeria.
All over the world, airlines are made to access, low interest rate loans. Nigeria is the other way around. All my loans are borrowed and they are going up 22.5% interest rate. So if I had borrowed 1 billion, at the end of the year, I'm expected to cover 225 million as interest alone, plus the 1 billion. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay your workers their salaries. You have to buy foreign exchange at a very high rate. You have to take care of sundry issues.
Accra is selling fuel between 110 and 120. Accra is also importing fuel, as Nigeria is importing Jet A1 fuel. There's really no reason why the government should not step in aggressively today to correct that, whether it's a cartel or it's double taxation or whatever the issue is, or excessive taxes, we must look at it and address it.
Many analysts believe the federal government has a lot of work on its hands to ensure that the domestic airlines not only thrive but operate profitably, as in the case of First Nation that had to suspend its operations owing to engine maintenance, which could have easily been resolved if Nigeria had a viable maintenance and repair organization. Arik, on the other hand, had to put its schedules on hold due to insurance issues, and this led to a large number of passengers being stranded nationwide.
Our guest is the top boss of Arik Air, Chris Ndulue, and he shares with us some of the reasons why the economic times appear to be affecting the industry more and why investment in this form of transportation will continue.
Yes, like you rightly said, we're in a recession. So it means that businesses are the lowest ebb. That's exactly what it means. The only difference and why we've seen manifestations in the aviation industry is the fact that aviation is so dependent on foreign exchange. Therefore, with the deterioration in exchange rate, it means that the cost of running aviation has doubled. Because what has happened is that exchange rate has moved from 200 to over 400. The aviation is low margin business, therefore it's a very tight business to run. They cost us so much and margins are very low. So it means that where things like this happen and cost just escalate suddenly is bound to actually cause a lot of problems in the industry. People keep investing in it because you need aviation. It's an essential service also. If you don't find private sector investment in aviation, you will certainly find public sector investment. Government will have to invest. Can you imagine a country like this without airlines? So it just can't work, and business cannot thrive in such an environment. So it's an essential business. It is possible to get into that business and then harness that low margin. The volume could be high, especially in a country like Nigeria. We have a lot of population. We have also a large expanse of land as a country. So it means that there is need for air connectivity. It means that there's potential for high volume of aviation business in Nigeria. Therefore, it is possible to make money from aviation or airline business in Nigeria. Usually, the airline business is a long-term business. It's not because it's capital intensive. So if you have to invest a lot of money and your margin is low, then obviously you are pushed into the long term. And it will take you time to make the little profits and then be able to recover your investment. It's also something that you need to also achieve some economies of scale. I think that's also important in trying to make it work. No, it's important that stakeholders, including Aviation Committee of the Senate, gets to know exactly what the problems are. I think that's the first step. If they get to know what the problems are, then we can all work together to find a solution. And whereas you can imagine, typically businesses would have a lot of challenges. It's not peculiar to aviation, but we've discussed why the issue of aviation is a bit more pronounced now. But all these problems, myriad of problems, you can look at them critically, and my own perspective to that is that there are a few problems that are driving so many other problems. And this is high cost of funds, interest rate, exchange rate, which is what has happened recently, and then multiple charges. So if you are able to address these three key issues, I think that then it becomes much easier to run the airline business profitably, and that also grows the aviation industry.
When we return, our guest has more, especially on the importance of insurance on assets like aircraft, whether on ground or in the air.